Hi YouTube. I wanted to give you a quick overview of my preschoolers curriculum for next year. My middle daughter is 4 years old. Last year she did just some fun kind of school worksheets and coloring with us, but this year she's really excited to have her own workbooks. So this might be a little more sometimes than you would want to do with a preschooler. She'll do lots of hands-on and lots of just kind of sitting in with us on some certain things, but she really wants her own workbooks. And there are a few things that I want her to start working on a little bit more diligently. So the first thing she's going to do on her own is handwriting. And this is the Handwriting Without Tears program. This is the first book that's kind of meant for preschoolers. It's called My First School Book. And this is the one that she is going to use. And this starts out really simply. She and I were just looking at it earlier today because she was super excited that it came. With some pages where they just do some coloring to practice holding their pencil the correct way. And then they move into just they make some lines and some swirls to trace where the bee goes. Then they do colors, and then they start into their letters here in a couple of pages. So here's an example of a letter page where it shows them how to make it, and then they do some practicing. There's some different things that you can use, mats and little chalkboards and stuff. I'm actually going to do a whole review on how I use the Handwriting Without Tears curriculum. We don't buy their whole set, but I do really like their workbooks, and it's worked really well for my older son. So I'm going to have my middle daughter start working on these as well so she can start writing her letters. So that will be her handwriting workbook. So she's super excited about that. Also for learning letters, she has Explode the Code. This is the A, B, and C books. And sorry, these are actually the Get Ready, Get Set, and Go. So this is what they call a primer for the Explode the Code series. And these are super basic as well. So she looked at the first page with me today, and you just pick the one that's different. And then it's introducing F is the letter, the very first letter for the lesson. And they have some really simple things, but it just helps them recognize the letters. And she knows a lot of them, but we really haven't talked about letter sounds for sure. And this will give her some more practice with writing as well. So we will move through these pretty slowly. I'm really just going to take it day by day with her. And if she does one a day, great. If she does 5 in a day, great. But I don't have a lot of expectations for her. We're just really starting out, and I still want her to enjoy it and be fun. So we're not going to push anything for sure. So that's what she's going to work on for phonics. I'm going to have her start the primer book for math, you see. And this is actually my son's because her workbook hasn't come in the mail yet, but I wanted to get this video done because I know everybody's kind of in curriculum picking mode. And we start school in July and school year round. If you want more information on that, you can check out my video on why we've chosen to do that. So I'm getting everything ready. I have like 2 more weeks before we start school. So I'm kind of in actual like organization, get stuff laid out mode. But anyway, this is my son's workbook from when he started the primer. And when he started this workbook, he literally could not write a number. So it starts very simply with counting, and then you circle the number of the pictures. And so it will help her with number identification. And again, we're going to take this super slow. There are 30 lessons. You can see 30. G would actually be the last lesson. So I'm not expecting that we'll even get one of these done a week unless she really takes off and really enjoys it. Okay, I got interrupted by my 2-year-old. So I think I was saying we're going to take this really slow, kind of like everything else. So this is the book that she's going to start working on. There's no tests in here. If you check the Math You See website, they really focus a lot on mastery. They want you to understand the concept before you move on. The only exception to that is the primer book. This really is just an overview, and then everything that's covered in here is going to get covered in a later level. So it really is just a good introduction for kids, and that's all I want for her is to start having an introduction to things. So she's going to work on this book. We'll see how long it takes her. If she needs to finish it up next year, that's totally fine with me, and then we'll move on to Alpha. Otherwise, she's going to mostly sit in on history and science and that kind of thing with my older son, who's kind of a 1st and 2nd grader. The only other thing that I have for her individually is we are going to be going through the Grapevine Studies. And I purchased the traceable version for her. This is actually the teacher's guide because I'm working on getting their stuff organized in their folders. So here's an example of one of their timeline pages. So in my daughter's version, all of these pictures would be there, but they'd be in really light gray print. And I have a video on this too if you want to see what those pages look like. And then she'll just trace over them literally with markers or colored pencils or whatever she wants to use that day. So that way she can follow along with Bible with us and have her own little workbook at the end. So those are the main things that I'm doing with her. Again, it's going to be really simple. And even though she's doing quote unquote worksheets and workbooks, she really enjoys that, and she likes doing that with my older son, and she's super excited about all of those things. The other thing that I'll do for hands-on is pull materials from places like Confessions of a Homeschooler, preschoolmom.com, pull some of those fun things to work on colors and shapes and sorting and things. Let me grab a notebook real quick and I'll show you a couple of Confessions of a Homeschooler mom things. Okay, I grabbed my binder from Confessions of a Homeschooler. I purchased her whole preschool curriculum last year, and I'm working on kind of getting through it with my daughter. This is an example of like a pre-writing practice page. This obviously has all to do with apples, so she could use this. I'd leave it in a page protector so she can use it with like dry erase markers. The other thing is here's like a shape sorting game where you match the other, find the circle with the other half of the apple. Here's apples that are different colors. Let me see if I can open one up. And then you have to match the colors to work on color recognition. And then here's a couple examples of little like pattern cards. So there's a couple different patterns, and then you have the little pattern pieces over here that you have to figure out where they go. So I'll pull out this stuff on a weekly basis for her too as well to supplement. This is one thing that when I do, I try and really be choosy about the things I print, because obviously it's going to be a lot of color, and then I laminate everything so that they can be used with future kiddos, because we'll have a lot more kids. Well, hopefully we have at least one more kid coming up after her for now, but I want to be able to use these with future kids. And then I just keep them in a binder with the ABC tab. So then you can see here, B is the next page. This is a page I made that's just all B pictures. So I'll pull out that stuff for her as well to work on things like colors and shapes, and we'll get counting bears and all that kind of stuff. But that's a little bit about what we're going to do for 4-year-old preschool next year to prep her for kindergarten next fall. So if you have questions about that, please let me know, leave a comment, and I'll try and answer those or share anything with you that I can. So I hope that's helpful for you. Thanks.